Every visible result in your life is the outcome of an invisible cause, your thoughts. Long before a building touches the sky, its blueprint is drawn on paper. Long before a seed becomes a tree, it grows silently beneath the soil. And long before success appears in your bank account, career, or relationships, it is first constructed within your mind. The mind is the original source of all achievement, and what you hold in it determines what you eventually hold in your hands. You cannot rise above the level of your thinking. A person who entertains small, fearful, doubtful thoughts will always sabotage even the best of opportunities. Conversely, a person who cultivates bold, confident, purposeful thoughts will begin to attract circumstances that reflect those thoughts. This is not a coincidence, it is a principle. Just as gravity pulls objects downward without exception, your dominant thoughts create a magnetic field around your actions, emotions, and results. They either pull you upward into success or drag you downward into frustration. This is why many people with equal talent end up with unequal outcomes. It is not merely about hard work, connections, or education. Though those things have their place, the real difference maker is mindset. Some people wake up every morning thinking, "I was born to succeed," while others begin their day asking, "What if I fail again?" These mental patterns determine how you interpret challenges, how you respond to setbacks, and how persistent you remain in the face of resistance. The world outside you is a mirror reflecting what's inside you. If you are filled with belief, you will see opportunities where others see obstacles. If you are filled with doubt, you will see risk in every reward. Your thoughts shape your perception, and your perception shapes your decisions. That's why learning to think successfully is not just motivational talk, it's a strategic discipline. You must take full control of your mind and deliberately plant the seeds of the reality you desire. You see, every great achievement in history began with an idea. Ideas are invisible forces. You cannot touch them, yet they move the world. A bridge, a business, a book, a breakthrough. They all began with a mental image, a spark of inspiration, a vision that refused to die. If you train your mind to dwell on success, to picture your goals already achieved, you begin to unlock the same process used by every great achiever. You become the architect of your life, not a victim of circumstances. But this mental discipline requires effort. The average person spends more time rehearsing failure than envisioning success. They replay their mistakes, imagine worst case scenarios, and nurture insecurities. As a result, they move through life with hesitation instead of confidence. But when you shift your focus, when you begin to see yourself as capable, worthy, and destined to rise, you activate your greatest asset, belief. And belief fuels action. The mind cannot remain neutral. It is always forming an image, either of victory or defeat, and whatever image you hold most consistently becomes your reality over time. This is why you must protect your thoughts with more care than you protect your money. Your money can be lost and regained, but a corrupted mindset leads to a life of missed potential. Guard it, train it, direct it. One of the most powerful truths you can learn is that your external world is a delayed reflection of your internal world. If you're not yet seeing the success you want, do not first blame your circumstances. Look within. Ask, what am I consistently thinking? What do I truly believe is possible for me? What emotions do I feed each day? Hope or fear? Confidence or worry? Because when the mind is aligned with success, the body follows. You speak differently, you walk with more purpose, you act with more courage, you persist longer, and others begin to respond to you in kind. Life does not give you what you want. It gives you what you are prepared to receive, and preparation begins with thought. Success, then, is not something you chase. It is something you attract by the person you become. And that becoming begins, always, in the mind. To act as if you have already achieved your goal is not a game of pretense. It is not about faking a lifestyle or boasting about a future that does not yet exist. Rather, it is a process of internal alignment. It is about preparing your mind and your actions to match the level of success you seek. When you act as if you are already successful, you begin to condition yourself to operate at the frequency of that success. You begin to train your thoughts, emotions, and habits to support the outcome you desire, not the situation you're currently in. The power of this principle lies in the understanding that your mind believes what you consistently show it. If you walk, speak, think, and decide from the perspective of someone who has already won, your subconscious mind starts to accept that identity as your own. You are no longer wishing for success. You are rehearsing it. And what you rehearse regularly becomes second nature. Acting as if is a tool to develop the character traits, confidence, and discipline that success demands before the physical evidence appears. Think of a person preparing for a role on stage. The actor does not wait for the applause to step into the character. They become the character long before the curtains rise. They study the role, feel the emotions, move with conviction, until the performance becomes believable not only to the audience, but also to themselves. In the same way, when you commit to living in alignment with your vision, you are not lying to yourself. You are educating your nervous system to feel safe and competent in a new identity. Many people struggle with self-doubt because they are too focused on what they currently lack. They wait until they feel successful to start behaving successfully. They wait until they are wealthy to manage money wisely, or until they are in leadership positions to carry themselves with authority. But life does not work that way. You must first become internally what you wish to be externally. You must step into the mindset and behavior of your future self now, because it is those very actions that will pull the result into reality. Acting as if is not about exaggeration, it is about elevation. It is choosing to elevate your standards, your language, your posture, and your daily routines to reflect the identity you are moving toward. If you desire to be a disciplined, focused, and prosperous person, then begin to live as one today in every way you can. Speak words of purpose. Treat your time with value. Carry yourself with dignity. Make decisions that your future self would be proud of. These are the daily habits that rewire your thinking and reshape your results. Your mind is constantly adapting to your patterns. The more you repeat something, the more natural it becomes. If you continue to act from your current limitations, those limitations grow stronger. But if you begin to act from your vision, your comfort zone expands. You start to feel more comfortable in environments and behaviors that once felt out of reach. This is the real benefit of acting as if. It expands your identity, and once your identity grows, your reality must grow to match it. People are often afraid to step into their future self because they think they're being unrealistic. But what's truly unrealistic is expecting change without changing. You cannot create a new life with the same behavior that created the old one. There must be a shift. That shift starts with choice. The choice to stop reacting to current circumstances and start responding from the level you intend to live at. When you act from the vision, not the visible, you begin to rise. Your actions pull you forward, your consistency builds belief, and belief creates results. There is a quiet power in behaving like a person who knows where they are going. You don't need to have all the answers. You don't need applause or approval. What you need is discipline. You need to make a decision that you will no longer wait for the world to validate your vision. You will live it now, step by step, day by day, until the world has no choice but to catch up. The more you show up in alignment with your goals, the more the world begins to reflect that alignment back to you. So, acting as if is not deception. It is devotion. It is the inner commitment to live your truth before anyone else can see it. You are not pretending to be someone you're not. You are practicing the person you are becoming. The subconscious mind is the most obedient and powerful force a human being possesses, yet it is also the most underestimated. It does not judge, it does not analyze, it does not reason. It simply accepts what it is given through repetition and emotion. Whatever is fed to it consistently, especially when accompanied by strong feeling, it records as truth. This truth then becomes the blueprint upon which your reality is built. The outer life that a person lives is always a mirror of the inner instructions planted in the subconscious mind. Your subconscious is constantly watching, listening, and storing information. It remembers the emotions you attach to your experiences more than the experiences themselves. If you have failed and replayed that failure in your mind with feelings of shame or fear, your subconscious memorizes that feeling as part of your identity. It begins to expect similar outcomes in the future, but the opposite is also true. When you repeat images of success, progress, and personal power with strong conviction and aligned behavior, your subconscious adopts those patterns as your new normal. This is why acting in alignment with your goals, even before the results appear, is not a matter of pretending. It is a method of conditioning the mind to accept a new identity. Every action you take is a message to your subconscious, telling it who you believe you are. If your actions are scattered, weak, or inconsistent, your subconscious remains unconvinced. But when your actions are bold, clear, and repeated, the subconscious accepts the message, "This is who I am now." And once it accepts that, your entire personality begins to shift. You become the kind of person who naturally attracts what once seemed out of reach. Belief is not simply a thought you say to yourself. It is the internal agreement between your mind, your emotions, and your behavior. That agreement becomes a signal. The more you send that signal through repeated action and conviction, the more your subconscious begins to create habits, decisions, and patterns that align with it. This is why people who repeatedly visualize success and then act on those images with purpose begin to rise. It is not luck. It is not chance. It is the law of the subconscious mind at work. The subconscious does not respond to logic. It responds to consistency and emotion. You can tell yourself you want success 100 times a day, but if your dominant feeling is fear, worry, or doubt, the message being received is not of success. It is of hesitation and limitation. The subconscious picks up the strongest emotional signal, not the loudest affirmation. This is why emotional repetition is so crucial. It is not enough to think good thoughts. You must feel them, believe them, act on them, and repeat them until they sink into your subconscious as undeniable truth. Aligned action is the most direct way to influence belief. You may not yet believe in your full potential, but if you take action as if you do, you are beginning the reprogramming process. Every time you move forward in the face of uncertainty, you create a new emotional experience. That experience, repeated enough times, starts to form a new belief. This is the process by which the mind begins to evolve. It does not change because of one moment of inspiration. It changes through repeated exposure to new feelings tied to new behavior. Consider a person who has never spoken in public. Their subconscious may associate speaking with fear, embarrassment, or rejection. But if that person begins to practice, even in small settings, and continues to push forward despite the discomfort, their subconscious begins to associate speaking with confidence and growth. Eventually, the fear fades, not because the person removed it by force, but because they replaced it with a stronger association. This is how belief is created, through exposure and repetition. Most people wait until they feel ready before they act. But that is backward. You act first, you move first, you show up first, and as you do, your subconscious slowly begins to shift its belief system to match your new behavior. You stop being the person who is trying to become successful, and you begin to embody the person who already is. This internal transformation is the seed of all lasting external success. What you repeatedly feel becomes what you instinctively believe, and what you instinctively believe becomes what you consistently experience. Train your subconscious carefully, because once it accepts a belief, it works day and night to make that belief your reality, whether that belief is one of greatness or limitation. When the speech is internalized by the listener, the result is a mental and behavioral shift from passivity to purposeful living. The individual begins to 1. Think from the end goal, not about it. This rewires the subconscious to believe success is not a distant possibility, but an unfolding reality. 2. Eliminate hesitation by aligning thoughts, feelings, and actions with their desired identity, regardless of current circumstances. 3. Radiate confidence and attract opportunities because their mindset, speech, posture, and habits reflect belief, not doubt. 4. Persist through obstacles with a strong sense of certainty, because they have mentally rehearsed success so vividly that setbacks feel temporary. 5. Bridge the gap between vision and reality by becoming a magnet for results through consistent, congruent action. Ultimately, the listener begins to live from a state of faith, not fear, and becomes the person who no longer hopes for success. They expect it, and that expectation transforms into achievement.